Greetings, Thompson School District. My name is Mark Schaffer. I'm the proud superintendent here of the Thompson School District, and welcome to our first ever district level podcast. And we're kicking it off big. We're going real big today because joining me today is the state of Colorado's very own Teacher of the Year, and that is Jessica May. So Jessica, welcome.
Thank you so much. I feel privileged to be a part of the first one. So yay, thanks for inviting me.
Very exciting. So we are going to just have a conversation, and I have some I think pretty interesting questions, but again, feel free to move off script or take it any direction you want. We'll just do this as a conversation.
I was like, that's dangerous to say, Dr. Schaffer, but okay, here we go.
So, Jessica, why don't you, we'll open with just tell me a little bit about yourself. And what I mean by that is, like, who are you as a human being?
If I were to describe that, my true passion is to serve others in every capacity, not just the classroom. So really, when I'm at Walmart, I'm looking around to see, if anyone needs anything of any sort, but I really am looking out for those kinds of things. And I'm all about love. When I see things that maybe don't look right and I can't fix them, I know that I can at least love up on that person. And I would think that's how I hope others would describe me as well.
So having those amazing human being skill sets, I imagine that you parlay that into being a teacher as an educator. Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about your journey. So talk to us about, how many years have you been in education?
Sure.
What does that look like?
Sure. So I was raised in the school district. Shout out to Centennial and Edmondson, Van Buren, Bill Reed, and Loveland High. And then I student taught at Mary Blair, thought really I was going to be elementary. And I tried for all those elementary jobs and wasn't getting anything. And my former teacher at Bill Reed said, hey, we have a 6th grade social studies open. And I was like, what? No way. I'm not doing middle school. They're scary. And she goes, no, really, they're not. 6th graders, they're still like elementary. And I interviewed, and that was the beginning of the end. I found my people. So I've been doing this since 1997. Met my husband through that same former teacher turned colleague. We were both at Bill Reed, so we had our wedding reception at the gym at
Wow.
Bill Reed. And then I took 6 years off to have our 4 boys. And then I returned again in 2013 and to a totally different world. We didn't have emails, or they were just starting when I stopped in 2004. Didn't have cell phones. Kids didn't have cell phones. So yeah, it was a shocker. But I definitely saw the need of kids was much bigger. And I really had to use my serving them and having patience and loving them up. A lot of times I give the analogy, and it's not supposed to sound disrespectful, but I see a lot of my at-risk students, and not even, they're kind of all at risk to me, mm-hmm. When you're in middle school. But I kind of see them as feral cats, where you can't go straight in on them to pet them. You have to really circle around slowly and feed them and get them to trust you, and then they'll never leave your side. And so that's really been my journey of just loving them up, and then I'll teach them content.
That's an extraordinary metaphor. I've never heard of middle school students referred to as feral cats.
Yes.
But I know your passion is middle school. You've lived in the middle schools for the better part of your career.
Yes.
I'm a former middle school principal, so I get it. They're a special breed.
Yes, they are.
What do you like most about working with middle school students? Like, if you were to name like the one thing.
They have such good ideas, and they don't really get enough credit or a platform to share it. And, they have this unique ability of still being little kids, like elementary, and they're not quite young adults, but they see what's going on and they have ideas. And I like to tap into that. I like to try and talk less and listen to them more. And then I tell them, you've got to get that voice out there because that needs to be shared with the world. And the other thing is they are so loyal. Like once you connect with them, they have your back forever. And they also make me feel like a rock star all the time. And so I got a better job than Taylor Swift because, it just happened today. I kind of had a tough morning, which I was fine at home. And then something kind of happened at school before school started, and it just threw me off my game. And I believe that I need to be open with them. Like if I can show my vulnerability and my struggles, and so I told my little story and I was tearing up and I saw them just with so much empathy and compassion for me. And that is my favorite thing to do. And then after I said that, then we move on, right? And so I snap back into, fake it till you make it kind of thing. But they are misunderstood. And I love being the person that hopefully can share and explain it to others so that they understand.
Yeah, it's been said that there's a very special place for those that can work with middle school children.
Yes,
and
I've heard that.
You are extraordinary. And testimonial. I've been in your classroom a number of times since I've been in the district, and I can say firsthand, you are that special adult.
Thank you.
You have a passion and an energy, and quite honestly, just a very unique skill set. That allows you to connect with kids on all levels, which is amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And you're also appreciated because you're the Colorado Teacher of the Year.
Yeah,
and so,
crazy, huh?
I want to talk about that.
Yes.
Because a lot of times, educator, it's a thankless job, right? Being in education, we work super hard, and what a big acknowledgement and thank you.
Yes.
And well-deserved,
Thank
might I
you.
add. But let's, I'm sure there's a lot of interest by those who may be engaging with us today. How did you become aware of the Teacher of the Year award?
I didn't know anything until I got an email in May of 23, I guess it was. And it said I had been nominated by a community member and if I wanted to fill out the application. And so I looked through the application, and because of who I am, language arts teacher, it took me 5 or 6 hours to do it.
Wow.
And then you had to do a 2-minute video. So I just submitted it and forgot about it.
What kind of questions were asked on the application, just for example?
Wow. Now you're making me think. There was a lot of things where they're trying to dig deeper into who you are. It's not just the pedagogy, sorry. That, I can't think of anything specific, but it really was, tell us a time when, or what do you do to reach the kids who are shutting down. And so there were very specific things that you really had to take a deep dive into. And I actually enjoyed it and thought, well, even if I don't win this, it was good for me to go back through kind of my career and think about these things.
It's like a reflective practice.
Absolutely. Right? And so then I thought, wow, okay, I have done things. And even if this doesn't amount to anything, there is that appreciation in the school and from families and from students. We definitely just feel a different shift since COVID, Right. We went this way and then we swung back the other way. I'm the ELA teacher. Yeah, so but it was definitely reflective. Yeah.
So highly reflective application process, a 2-minute video, all submitted. You push send, and then what? So what did that selection process look like? And talk about that trajectory.
So having been on, so now I was a part of picking or narrowing down and choosing the 2025. So now I know that after the applications are submitted, they're all divided up there's like 20 plus of us across the state, not just education. And the 20 of us get a handful of those applications, and we go through with a rubric and we rate them and we narrow it down to X amount. I believe it was 9 this year, and then we narrowed it down to the 7 finalists. Okay. So I remember just getting a phone call in September, and they said that I was one of the 7 finalists, and I was like, wow, that's huge. I was on TV. My mom is thinking I'm a rock star. And I thought, yeah, that's good. That's like good enough for me. And but then we had an interview process. So, it was probably 45 minutes with all 20 of them on a Zoom. And I knew the questions beforehand. And I just went into a classroom that didn't have kids at Turner and got coverage from my class. Was totally myself. I thought, I'm not here to impress or guess what they're wanting. And then waited until October 27th. And we were having 2 assemblies in one day, which was kind of odd. And everyone was saying, we think that this is what you're getting, my colleagues. And I was like, no. And then it happened, and it couldn't have gone any better. I mean, that assembly and hearing the things that people see in me, yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah,
it was awesome.
It definitely was. It was magical. I would say it was. It was really cool to do that in the gym at Turner, and a lot of dignitaries. I know we had Suzanne Cordova. We had a number of dignitaries. I know last year's Colorado Teacher of the Year was there. So and just a lot of and the kids, right, being surrounded, in the gym, really just kind of made that exciting. So really cool. Emotions, like how, when you were notified, what was going through your mind?
Well, when I got the phone call, I was a finalist. I said to the lady, I always wanted to be Miss America, but I'm too short. So I felt like this was that. But during the assembly, I just kept thinking, just remember this. Just take it all in. Remember this when you're having a bad day. all those things. And also that I didn't get there alone. I mean, if I could tell you everyone from the Thompson School District who was my teacher, I'm still in touch with Nancy Patterson, who was my first grade teacher. She lives on 3rd Street over by the library, right? So, I mean, if I didn't have all of those people and then my career mentors, but really the basis of it, the award I think mostly was from my mom. She only graduated from high school, but she fostered since I was 3. And so by the time I graduated, because I stayed home when I went to Ames Community College and then UNC, and when I graduated, I was still living with my mom, and I had she always counted them, 189 foster brothers and sisters.
Wow.
And so I learned so much about how to be patient and love other people's children who are in crisis or trauma, or just to be misplaced, and they're falling asleep in a house that they don't know in a bed that doesn't smell like theirs. So I saw a lot of this as for my mom, because without that foundation, I don't think I would have become who I became. And so I just didn't do it alone. And I just remembered thinking about all the people that I loved that were my teachers.
Super powerful and inspiring, Jessica. Thank you. So, beyond the handshakes and the plaques and the all the the frills that go along with it,
Yeah.
I would imagine that there are responsibilities and duties and obligations as the teacher of the year. So we'll get to like some of the fun stuff and experiences. I guess what I'm interested in maybe hearing about are like the expectations and like
Yeah.
of
What's
the
the
role.
nitty gritty of
Yeah.
it? Just people come out of the woodwork. I don't even know of half of these foundations and groups and companies, and they want you to speak and they want to interview you, and doing the headshots and doing promos and all of these things just flood in. And I just said it was going to be my year of yes. So, presenting at conferences, being keynote speaker, even though my reign or whatever you want to call it ends December 31st. Like I'm speaking at UNC to the new teachers in February, the ones that are going to be graduating. So I'm the keynote speaker for that. PTA wanted me to speak, so I went to Colorado Springs, and so I was being interviewed by KOA, and that the station manager turned out to be my former student from
Wow.
Bill Reed. So and even like little groups, like I was asked to attend and tell the state of education to this group of retired teachers. And though it sounded like a sorority name, it wasn't. And I met at this little church, and there were like 20 of them, and they were all retired teachers, and they wanted to know, what is it about today that we need to know, and how can we help? So a lot of this is always like, how can we help? And so in this program, you are a part of a group of CCSSO, which is the Chief Counselors of School Office. I should know it. But they go through and help us find what our passion projects are. Like, what do we want it to be? I mean, there's this huge gamut, but what are you super, super, super passionate about?
And what are those? I know that you have kind of sort of that platform, that
Yes.
microphone, proverbially. What has been your passion areas?
So one of them is about teacher pay. So I am now a part of the teacher project, and how can we really get our voices out there? The other part is I now meet quarterly with the Commissioner of Education in Colorado, Susana Cordova, and we get our voice out. Like I'll send stuff out to my colleagues in the district and in my school. I just want feedback, and then I present it. So one of them really is the teacher pay and how we can set that up. My other one is reading. As ELA, you can't take that out of me. And what I have learned are how our numbers really aren't moving. It's not just a state thing. It's not even just our district. It's not even our state. It is the nation. So brainstorming with all of these other teachers, comparing notes, and trying to figure out what's going to work. And then these 54 other teachers of the year, because it's not just our states, it's our territories, we have a group me chat. And I can ask them, hey, who's doing this? Or who's, I didn't even know what an editorial, an ed op was, right? I didn't even know that, because I've been in my own lane, just in my own classroom. But I can ask anybody on any topic if they have anything, any information, any name, and they give it to me. So I really am working on reading, like where really is the gap? And I know it's the summer slide, and I know it's birth to 5 years old. So I want to do something with that. So those are my two real big ones. I also want to think outside the box to retain teachers and the stress of that. And so looking into the 4-day-a-week schedules and looking at those districts and how are they doing it, what were their issues, how'd they start it up. So it's just a lot of those are the three things that I think could change education. And I have always been a person who will ask the tough questions, rock the boat, push things to the cliff edge. Like I want to help make a huge wave and a big difference.
Well, you are super articulate, extraordinarily intelligent.
Thank you.
And I know you use your voice for good, but also for change, quite honestly. I mean, there are lots of opportunities in public education, and you and I have had a number of conversations.
Yes, we have.
And I've always appreciated your candor, as well as just your focus. And so that's awesome.
Well, I always appreciate how you listen with an open heart and mind. So thank you.
Thank you. In addition to the rigor of the roles and responsibilities, I know there have been some unique and even fun experiences as the Teacher of the Year. And
yes.
Can you share maybe 2 or 3 of the highlights?
Sure. So the first time that we ever met all of the other Teachers of the Year was at Google in California, and that was in February. That was super cool. But I would say, I mean, of course, going to the White House was amazing. And the first state dinner ever for, our general population people. We weren't.
What did they serve, by the way?
It was lobster ravioli.
Okay.
And but before that, you got a really strange-looking salad that we think was like cut cucumber. I don't know. We took pictures.
Okay.
It looked much prettier than it tasted. Okay. But it was amazing to be there and to meet the First Lady and the President and the the Secretary of Education, and get to talk to him about stuff. So, and we got to go and talk to our representatives up on Capitol Hill. So I talked to Senator Bennett and Yadira Caraveo, and just kind of felt heard. And, what is it that's the biggest struggle? They're asking about cell phones. They're asking about safety. I'm like, safety, feel totally safe. Cell phones, would love those locked away in mesh pouches. So it was interesting what they talked about. But the best thing ever was going to space camp.
Ooh.
So we were in Huntsville, Alabama. It was not humid that week. It was so lovely. But I'd wanted to do that since I was 10, and my mother couldn't afford it as a single mom. So dream come true. It was so fun. And then we got a last-minute invite to the White House to do a back-to-school event, and I got to take 4 of my colleagues, thanks to you, and the district, as kind of a thank you, because without those 4 teachers, you don't survive without those people. And so, we're on the lawn of the White House, and, we got to walk through. It was fabulous. Dr. Biden is pretty amazing as an educator herself. And then the last big hurrah is in January. We all get to go to the college football championship game in Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay.
Apparently we're doing something with ESPN. We're going to be on the field. Like, there's tailgating before. I don't know. It's all a big thing. I want the Buffs to be there, but I'm not thinking that. I mean, I don't know, Coach Prime, can you get there? I don't think so. But super, and that is paid for. And Colorado Teacher of the Year gets more than some teachers. We get less than some state teachers. But I've just been really blessed with the experience and the way the district has supported me in taking those days off and going experiencing that stuff. You walk into a room and that every single teacher there is the cream of the crop. They are the best of the best. I've never been in a room with that. And that in itself gives me goosebumps and is very powerful.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, coming full circle, it's been a year of experiences and events and speaking and learning and all these pieces. What have you learned about yourself? I'll go back to my first question, as a human being. And what have you learned about yourself as an educator?
Well, I've always been fighting with the thing that I can't save everyone or fix everything. And life has thrown me, a few curveballs in not just professional but personal life that has forced me to go slower than I want. So I have learned, especially from, we have a lot of meetings. Like this semester, so many meetings with CCSSO. It's always after school. And it's really listening to the other former teachers of the year and how they've moved past, like, because now all of a sudden I'm not going to be the it thing, right? Which I'm okay with. It's been great, but I would like to just know what it's like to just teach family and consumer science at Turner, because I only did it for 6 weeks before I got Teacher of the Year. So I have learned that I need to go at my own pace, and everything will still be there. And they teach you will never not be the 2024 Colorado Teacher of the Year. And so I will always have that. So as an educator, I just want to be with my kids. And will I go on to other things? I've had a lot of exposure. There's a lot of stuff I could do. And I think right now I just need to settle into my district that has supported me so much, and be at a school that has supported me so much, on a team that has supported me so much, kids that love me up. And I just need to take the time to enjoy that. So that's the plan for at least a year. As a human, it's all about connections, which I've always known. But now my connection network is ridiculous. And it's always going to be there. And that's very reassuring. But, I also have my colleague and I wrote a book about, building secondary relationships. How do you do that? It comes out in June of 2025. So I think I'll focus on just my kids and the book and see where that takes me. But it has definitely, it's one of those things when somebody finally gives you a title where you think, not to gloat, but I was already that. It was great to get the title, but I want to be a cheerleader and help other teachers realize that they're that already too, whether you do this or not. And so I would love to be a voice and continue to be a voice for those teachers and fight for them to only have one job, instead of multiples. So.
That's awesome. As we wrap up our first ever podcast, any closing thoughts for our listening audience? Anything else you would like to share as your experiences come to a close here? But certainly a broad and bright future ahead of you.
Well, I mean, there are so many things. But if I were to choose one, I think I just want families to know how much we think of their kids. It is not, I mean, granted, my friends are teachers. My husband is a teacher, right? Our brains never turn off. And even when we're in a store, when we were in Washington, D.C., and one of my teacher friends is like, oh my gosh, this would be great for my one student. They would love it. And they bought it for him. Like, we never stop thinking of them and lessons that we could bring in that will make things even better and even more exciting. And if you think or have an inkling that we are the enemy or that we don't like your child, talking face to face, not this email thing, but like, can I come in and just talk to you? I know that takes time, but I would just say, just meet with us, because we got your kids back and we're trying to have your back as well.
Well, Jessica May, it has been a privilege and honor to speak with you. And congratulations again
so
on well-deserved honor and recognition. And you have done transformational things. We'll continue to do that.
Hope so.
I appreciate you so very much.
Thank you.
Again, on behalf of Jessica and myself and podcast number 1 here in the Thompson School District, we thank you for joining us, and join me next time when we'll bring forward another amazing guest like we had today. Thanks so much.